Jealousy is not love. Jealousy is a toxic and negative feeling due to a sense of inferiority and possessivity, treating the partner like an object instead but a person. People are meant to be loved, an object to be used, not the other way around. People are not objects that you can claim possession of. You go into a relationship to give and wanting the other person to grow into a better version of themselves. Authentic, healthy, loving relationships are about sharing your completeness and happiness with your partner, trusting your partner and respecting his or her individual freedom. After all, love is freedom, and freedom is the natural status of every living being. Therefore, you must love in such a way that the other person feels free. Therefore, in an authentic, loving relationship, there is no place for jealousy, lack of trust, and disrespect to begin with. Relationships that are based on negative traits like possessivity, disrespect, and lack of trust are toxic relationships. In these kind of relationships, the two person completely emotionally depend of each other like a parasite from the host. So instead of going there to give and to share completeness, we focus on what we can get from the other person. Bottom line, toxic relationships are not an authentic relationship, but rather a transaction. Sometimes a person might ignore the red flags of a toxic person and enter into a relationship. A common example is when a person ignores the red flag of a toxic person with cluster B type of personality, narcissist, psychopaths, histrionics. Cluster B people love to pair with people that have trouble in putting healthy boundaries. A narcissist is concerned all about boosting his or her ego by the means of adulation of others. But in truth, she feels like shit inside. It's interesting to notice that narcissistic women tend to do an incredible amount of selfies and post them in their social profile because they are seeking likes as a form of online supply of adulation to boost their ego. Psychopaths and histrionics have similar tendencies, except that psychopaths' endgame is more about control, destruction, and power, and they tend to have a high impulsivity, while for histrionics is all about being the star of any situation and the adulation over everything else. A common tendency all the cluster B share is their relational pattern: elevation, derivation, and discard. In the first phase, elevation, the cluster B starts quickly to treat the other person like the king, queen of the world, etc. People that suffer from low self-esteem are more likely to fall prey of this trick. When the target falls for the cluster B, the cluster B moves to de-elevation. Basically, in the eyes of the cluster B, everything becomes the other person's fault. If the person doesn't stand up for himself or herself, then the cluster B will eventually move to discard phase by disappearing, stonewalling any attempt of communication, leaving often the target confused about what happened. As soon as you spot the cluster B behavioral patterns in a potential partner, I strongly advise you to run like hell and never look back, ideally before getting emotionally attached. Cluster B are not suitable candidates for authentic relationship, as it's all about them and their endgame.